What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be answering one of the most popular questions, addressing one of the most popular myths in the Outriders community, and that is whether you can specifically farm legendaries from certain expeditions, and whether certain expeditions have a higher chance of dropping either a specific legendary or legendaries of a specific type. And this is unfortunately something that has spread within the community, you know, now that people are starting to realize certain pieces that they desperately need to complete their builds. You know, things like death shields and, you know, funeral pyres, anemoys, high rollers, and of course the various armor pieces that you need to, you know, complete whichever character you're playing's build. So in today's video, I just want to address this, and I've created a sample set of information that we can look at. Trying to essentially replicate this idea of, you know, focusing and looking for a specific legendary, and then also taking some of the more popular suggestions, if I can put it that way, that are out there, whether it's on Reddit or YouTube, for which expeditions we should be targeting to get these legendaries. So let's go. A quick disclaimer, when I originally started out this video, or not the video really, but the research for this, and, you know, actually compiling all of the information, I genuinely wanted it to be true. I really want you to be able to do certain expeditions and look for certain pieces of gear, whether that is that, you know, it has a higher chance of dropping armor instead of weapons, or a certain expedition has a higher chance of dropping, you know, shotguns instead of assault rifles, or more specifically, let's say if you're looking for a death shield, you should be doing this and this and this expedition because they have higher chances of dropping it. But unfortunately, all of the information that I've compiled here points to the fact that that is not in actual fact true, and that it is pure RNG how these drop. I've not been able to get a similar legendary or of the same type to drop repeatedly from any expedition that I've tried. And again, the point here is not to disparage anybody's content out there or to point fingers at anybody and say you're wrong and I'm right or so on. But it is important that we do clear up any misinformation in this game and in this community around things like this, because all of our time is precious, and the last thing I want is that somebody sits down and says, okay, cool, I have to do 30 runs of Paxian Homestead because on the 30th run of Paxian Homestead I will get a death shield. So that's really, you know, what the information has allowed me to essentially see. Of course, you know, this is a feature that hopefully could be added down the line by the developers to the game. It's certainly something that's high up on my list of requests for this game, is the ability to target farm certain legendaries. It would definitely, I think, make it a lot more conducive to, you know, you feeling like you have a little bit more power over developing your character and looking for certain pieces to complete your build, because at the moment right now it's basically like a crapshoot, and you could get lucky on your third run and, you know, get, you know, all the missing pieces you need, or you could in actual fact be 200, 250, 300 runs in and still unfortunately don't have the item shaft. But as it stands right now, today, at the time of this video, there really is no way for you to specifically farm for anything from a specific expedition. Now, before you move away, let's dive into the detail. Let's look at some of the information that I have here. You might learn something new, you might learn something interesting, or you might just enjoy, you know, some of the facts that I have for you. But let's get right to it. So just some quick stats here and a brief explanation of how I went about this. As a baseline, I chose the Death Shield shotgun as something that I was going to actively search for. And definitely the three most popular myths, if I can put it that way, out there is that the Drought Palace has an extremely high chance of dropping the Death Shield, especially on repeated doings, repeated runs of the Drought Palace. There's also another myth that says a very low time Boomtown. So if you're able to complete Boomtown in, you know, sub 4 minutes, sub 6 minutes, something like that, then you're able to also get Death Shield to drop. And then of course Paxian Homestead, which a lot of these myths around specific gear dropping kind of tends to gravitate towards Paxian Homestead, which is weird. But Paxian Homestead supposedly drops the majority of its weapons as shotguns. So again, it would make sense that someone would say, oh, okay, cool, but, you know, if I'm looking for a death shield, which is a shotgun, let me just go run Paxian Homestead a shitload of times and I'm bound to get a death shield. So what I did is I set out running expeditions. My target was to assemble 200 legendary drops. And I wasn't just going to focus on Drought Palace, Boomtown, and Paxium Homestead, because A, that would drive me crazy just doing those three over and over and over again to get to 200 legendaries. But secondly, also, I did want to add a little bit of randomness into this, because I also wanted to somehow see if I could actually get these items like the Death Shield and some of the other, more impressive pieces of loot like the Anemoy and the High Roller and these things that people are always looking for, to drop from other places. And maybe they would be dropping from other places more repeated, and that would also prove the fact that you could, in actual fact, target farm. So again, like I said, I really wanted this to be true. So just in general, it took me 154 runs to assemble the 200 legendaries, and that took me just over 21 hours all in all from end to end. Out of the 295 of them were armor pieces and 105 of them were weapons. And out of that, 23 of the 200 were what I would consider near guard rolls. So I didn't get any guard rolls. I didn't get anything that rolled specifically on the guard roll number, like the highest damage number that you can get. But I got a couple of pieces, a couple of weapons that were near there. And 23 out of 200 is kind of like around where I imagine it would be based on previous, analysis that I did, and also previous videos that I shared, where it kind of seems to be around between 10 and 15% of everything that drops is really, guard roll, or not even guard roll, but like near guard roll. So these three myths that I just mentioned now, Drought Palace, Boomtown, and Paxium Homestead, let's target each one of those individually. So up here now we have the Drought Palace. Now Drought Palace, this is all of the loot that fell from here. So again, let me just explain. I did not just run Drought Palace, Boomtown, and Paxium Homestead, but I continuously ran expeditions, and whenever one of these three came up, I picked that. And in the cases where all three or two of the three came up, I picked one, and then I remembered the next time to pick the next one. And I tried to get kind of like an even spread going. With the Drought Palace, all in all, I was able to collect 21 legendaries from all of my runs. Of the 200 legendaries and of the 154 runs in total, I was able to collect 21 pieces of legendary gear. Now, as you can see there, there's no Death Shield present there. There's also no Funeral Pyre present there. There's also no Anemoy present there. There's also no High Roller present there. So, I mean, just cherry picking out of there what is kind of useful there, I guess, because again, you see there's a lot of armor pieces there, is not really anything. There's not really anything special there. So, definitely no Death Shields from here, and that was, of course, a huge disappointment. Now, quickly, just something that I sort of forgot, so let me interject and mention this here. Each one of the characters, they have these in their skill trees. They have these nodes like Sniper Master, Assault Master, and all of that. They have a perk on them which is supposedly increases the drop chance of that specific weapon type when you actually do get weapons, and this is for everything, right? So this will be on legendaries and on epics and on rares, basically all of everything that drops for you. Now, for all 200 legendaries, or let's rather say for all 154 runs that I did, I had Assault Master equipped, and generally that would mean to me that I should be getting a 20% increase to assault weapons as a whole dropping. So that would mean, it's not just assault rifles, of course, that's LMGs and submachine guns as well, and, double guns. Now, the funny thing that happened is out of the 105 weapons that dropped, 37 of them were from the assault class. So that's subs and, double guns and everything. And 26 of them were shotguns. So shotgun class, so whether they're, whatever, any kind of shotgun. And then the rest were, like sniper rifles and pistols and, shit like that. So either this 20% is not working all that well, or something else is happening here, but definitely I wouldn't say that there was an overabundance of assault class weapons in the weapons that dropped for me. So that's also something that seems to either not really be working as well as it's supposed to be based on based on that, because of course the idea here would be, and again, this is something that's been spread online, is that you take a trickster. Trickster's got shotgun master, which gives you 20% more chance of that. Then you take the trickster, you equip shotgun master, and you go run one of these three, and you're bound to get like a death shield. So again, this kind of to me proves that that's not the case, because if I was supposedly getting like a whole bunch more assault rifle drops, then I would imagine that this number would be slightly higher. Look, it is more than the shotguns, but when you factor in the pistols and the sniper rifles and rifles in general that additionally get us to the 105 weapons, it's definitely not the majority by 20% of the drops from the 105. So that was just a side note on that, in case anybody was wondering. Then the second one, myth, so to speak, is a really fast boomtown run, or a sub 4 or a sub 6. Now, I can't do sub 4s with my Technomancer, but I can do sub 6s. And the boomtown data is on the screen here right now. So here again, you can see that, yeah, actually managed to get quite a few weapons to drop and not so much armor. But again, yeah, we do see, however, an Anemoy, which is great. So that did drop from there. But yeah, other than that, you've got an Inferno Seed, there's a Thunderbird there, there's a Fatal Symbiont, which is great because you want that mod from there. And then just a whole bunch of pistols with the Bolt and Thunder and a Disintegrate, and even a second Inferno Seed. So again, nothing that blows your hair back, but in total 18 from all the Boomtown runs that I did, I managed to get 18 legendaries to drop, but again, unfortunately, no Death Shield. Then if we go to the last one, Paxian Homestead, and this is supposed to be just really, really good for shotguns in general. Now, right off the back, you can see here that, again, there's a good spread between weapons and armor dropping. But surprise, surprise, first of all, no Death Shield. And then, funnily enough, out of all of the weapons that dropped, only 3 of them that dropped were shotguns. So definitely not an abundance of shotguns. If I did my count right here, there's 12 weapons that dropped there, and only 3 of them were shotguns. So that's actually, you know, not really good at all. I mean, it's a quarter. So that's those 3 sort of myths or urban myths around, you know, farming shotguns specifically. Now I understand that I'm only looking at the Death Shield as a basis for essentially proving or disproving this. But it wouldn't make any sense to me that you couldn't target farm a Death Shield, but you can target farm, for instance, a specific chest piece that you're looking for. That doesn't work. If one was going to work, then the other one was going to work as well. So that leads me to believe that this would mean for anything that you're specifically looking for, you have, you know, basically no chance of specifically farming that for an expedition. Now, as a last part to the video, you might be thinking, okay, but dude, you collected like 200 legendaries. Did you actually get anything decent from that? Yeah, absolutely. So I did actually get 3 Death Shields to drop, but they drop from all over the place. I got one from Stargrave, one from Colosseum, and one from Archways of Enoch. I got 2 Funeral Pyres to drop as well, Heart of the Wild and Chemplant. I got 2 Anemoys to drop. You saw the one in Boomtown, but there was another one in Mountain Outpost as well. And then lastly, I got 5 High Rollers to drop, but again, just spread all over the place. Not one coming from the same expedition. And it's Colosseum, Scorchlands, Frontline, Marshland Caverns, and Time-Worn Spire. So again, to conclude, I think a lot of people knew this already, and that is that this is pure RNG, like so much of this game is. But it is important that we just kind of get this message out there, and that we just understand and we clear up the misinformation that this just, you know, it is what it is. You are going to be, you know, some people get a Death Shield from doing the hunt quest, not the hunt quest, but rather the bounty quest. I know someone that got a Death Shield from turning in, I think that the quest that you get in the desert where you turn in after you, you know, go with the tank and shoot out the wall and everything like that and assemble all the pieces and bring it back to the camp. They got a Death Shield from that. It's complete and utter RNG, and I wouldn't say I challenge anybody, but anybody that has any counter information to this, has done similar tests and is able to show where they actually repeatedly get this from the same place, I don't know, I guess with gameplay or something like that, sure, let's do that. But I think overall, it's clear right now that RNG is the main determining factor here for getting it. And that's the unfortunate thing that makes you feel so powerless when you are looking for something specific, when you're missing 1 or 2 or 3 last little pieces that would basically take your build from really good to just, you know, insanely good and where you want to be. And unfortunately, I couldn't give you any good news today. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell you that, you know, farm Paxian Homestead 30 times and you're going to get your death shield, because unfortunately, that's just not going to work. But please let me know in the comments down below if you've managed to somehow, you know, target farm something specifically that you're looking for. If you have any other questions from all this data, there's a lot of data here that I assembled with all of this stuff. And of course, I can't share all of that because it'll be like a 1-hour video or something like that. But if you have any questions specifically around this, yes, I still did not get a fucking heir to the desert. So no, that's I'm well over 500 legendaries collected in this game now already, and still no heir to the desert. If that doesn't show you RNG, then I don't know what does. And oh yeah, another, I guess, a popular question is how many cannonball pieces did I get? And that is, out of the 200 legendaries, I managed to get 29 cannonball pieces to drop. So definitely, perhaps that's happening too much. Two things that I noticed from this is definitely too many cannonball pieces and far too many sidearms. So yeah, that's definitely something. But like I said, let me know if you have any additional questions or anything like that. Keep an eye out. I'll be streaming again tonight where we're taking the Pyromancer all the way to 30. I'm on 15 right now, so we got to go 15 levels, so it's 30 or bust. And if you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing. This is the kind of stuff that I bring to the channel. At the moment right now, we're very much, you know, focused on Outriders, but in the future, of course, there'll be other games. Right on the horizon right now is Biomutant, for instance, so hopefully that's something interesting for us down the line as well. But if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Thanks for all the support for everything in the channel in the last couple of weeks. It's been amazing. You are all amazing. You are the ones that make this whole thing work, so thank you very much. I do, however, want you to have a great morning, a great afternoon, and a great evening wherever you are. And until next video, fucking cheers.